The Well of Seven Heads, or Tobar nan Carn in Gaelic, is a gruesome and macabre chapter in Scottish history. Located on the banks of Loch Oich in the Scottish Highlands, the well is now marked by an old obelisk monument that bears a carving of a hand holding a dagger and 7 severed heads. The monument was erected in 1812 by Alexander Ranaldson MacDonell, chief of Clan MacDonell of Glengarry, as a nod to a horrific series of events that took place in the 17th century. The story begins with a fight that got out of hand in 1663. Alexander, the 13th chief of the Keppoch family, powerful members of the Macdonalds, and his brother Ranald were killed by their cousins at a brawl in the mansion of Insch, just outside the village of Roybridge. The two Keppoch men had just returned from schooling in France and had thrown a grand party. The killers were well known, Alexander MacDonald and his 6 sons from Inverlair, near Roybridge. They had been engaged in an argument with the Keppochs over a piece of land, which undoubtedly contributed to the killings. However, in a part of the country dominated by the Macdonalds, the killers had many sympathizers, particularly among ordinary people who regarded the Keppoch boys as gentry. Time passed and no justice was meted out, but vengeance cursed within one man, Ian Lom, or Bald Ian, a kinsman of the victims and an important figure who held the title of Gaelic Poet Laureate of Scotland. He was known locally as the Keppoch Bard. Bald Ian embarked on a seemingly one-man crusade to make the Macdonalds at Inverlair pay for what had happened. He first approached a fellow clansman, Lord Macdonald of Glengarry and Arros, who at the time was regarded by the Scots Privy Council as High Chief of the Clan Donald. But MacDonald did not want to get involved. His next stop was Sir James MacDonald of Sleat, but he too was hesitant to become involved in the affairs of a fellow tribe. But Bald Ian had a trump card up his sleeve. The 2 murdered men had been fostered with Sir James at Duntulm Castle on the Isle of Skye. The vengeful bard travelled to the castle and appealed to the chief's emotions in dramatic and biblical language. His ploy was successful. Sir James applied to the Privy Council in Edinburgh, which issued letters of fire and sword against the killers. Sir James's brother Archibald, the warrior poet, was put in charge of 50 men who were sent to avenge the killings of 2 years previously. Bald Ian was there to guide them to the MacDonald home at Inverlair where, after a brief struggle, the 7 known killers, and probably more, were murdered and decapitated. The bard was satisfied, he had his revenge and he wanted to prove it. He wrapped the severed heads in his plaid, tied them together with willow rods and set out for Glengarry. Before presenting them to Lord Macdonell at Invergarry Castle, Bald Ian stopped to wash them in the waters of Loch Oich, at the site where the grim obelisk now stands. The heads were then sent to Edinburgh where they were affixed to the Well of Seven Heads is a chilling reminder of the brutal nature of clan warfare in Scotland's past. The monument serves as a reminder of the gruesome nature of the act of vengeance that was carried out and the shocking disregard for human life that was commonplace in the 17th century Scottish Highlands. As you stand at the foot of the obelisk monument, you can't help but feel a sense of unease as you take in the grisly carving of the hand holding the dagger and 7 severed heads. The monument is not signposted and is easy to miss, but once you find it, it serves as a haunting reminder of the violent past of the Scottish Highlands. The story of the Well of Seven Heads is not just a tale of bloodthirsty revenge, it's also a story of power and politics. The Macdonalds were one of the largest clans in the Highlands, and the Keppoch family were powerful members of the clan. The killers of Alexander and Ranald were well connected and had many sympathizers in the area, which made it difficult for justice to be served. Bald Ian's actions, although brutal, were a way for him to take control of the situation and bring justice to his fallen kinsmen. He appealed to the emotions of Sir James and Archibald, and was able to rally a group of men to carry out his plan of revenge. The fact that the heads were washed in the well and presented as proof to Lord Macdonell of Invergarry Castle, before being sent to Edinburgh, highlights the importance of honour and reputation within the clan system. The heads were a symbol of the justice that had been served and served as a warning to others who might dare to cross the Keppoch family.